He built it with his own hands, a towering gallows meant for one man, a quiet servant who refused to bow. By sunrise, the wood would carry a body, but not the one he planned. In the heart of the Persian Empire, a powerful official named Haman believed he controlled fate. He had the king's ring, he had the law on his side, he even had a death date chosen for an entire nation. And yet, one sleepless night would unravel everything. Because while Haman was sharpening revenge, a forgotten record sat inside the royal archives, waiting to be read. This is the story of pride that overreached, power that turned blind, and justice that moved in silence. He thought he was preparing an execution. He was preparing his own.
Haman was not just angry, he was humiliated. Every day at the palace gate, one man stood upright while others bowed. Mordecai, a quiet Jewish servant, would not kneel. To Haman, this was more than disrespect. It was a wound to his ego. So he did something unthinkable. He convinced King Xerxes to sign a decree, a legal order to eliminate every Jew in the empire. Men, women, children. A date was chosen, an entire nation marked for death. And the king did not even know the full truth.
But inside the palace was someone Haman overlooked, Queen Esther. Young, careful, silent about her heritage. She was Jewish. And when she learned about the decree, she faced a deadly choice. Approach the king without invitation and risk execution, or stay silent and watch her people.
While Esther prepared to risk her life, while Haman supervised the building of the gallows, while a nation waited in fear, the king could not sleep. That single restless night would expose a forgotten act of loyalty recorded years earlier, a name buried in the royal archives, a man who once saved the king's life, Mordecai. And by morning, the empire would witness something no one expected. Justice does not always shout. Sometimes it waits. The palace was silent. Torches flickered against cold stone walls. King Xerxes lay awake, staring into darkness. No war disturbed him. No enemy stood at the gates. Yet sleep would not come. So he ordered the royal records to be read, the chronicles of his reign. Line after line, forgotten victories, old alliances. Then a name surfaced, Mordecai. The servant who once uncovered a plot by two guards, Bigthana and Teresh, who planned to assassinate the king. The king sat up. What honor was given to this man? He asked. Silence. Nothing. In that moment, the balance began to shift. At dawn, Haman entered the court. He had come early. He wanted permission to hang Mordecai. The gallows was ready. The wood was strong. The rope was prepared. Before Haman could speak, the king asked him a question. What should be done for the man the king delights to honor? Haman's heart raced. Surely the king meant him. He described a royal robe, the king's horse, a public parade through the city. The king smiled. Excellent. Do this for Mordecai. The words struck like a blade. The man he planned to kill would now be lifted high, and Haman would lead the horse. The streets filled. Mordecai, dressed in royal garments, rode through the city. Haman walked ahead, announcing his honor. Every step crushed his pride. Every shout from the crowd echoed like judgment. The gallows still stood in the distance. But something had changed. The rope was no longer certain. That night, Queen Esther held her second banquet. And this time, she would speak. Wine was poured. Silence stretched across the table. The king turned to Esther. "What is your request?" Her voice was steady. "If I have found favor, spare my life and the life of my people." The king froze. "Who would dare threaten you?" She turned slowly.
Haman.
"This wicked man." She pointed at Haman. The room shifted. The king rose in fury and stepped outside. Haman collapsed in panic. For the first time, he understood. Power had abandoned him.
When the king returned, he saw Haman begging near the queen. His anger erupted. Then a servant spoke. "There stands the gallows Haman built for Mordecai." The king did not hesitate. "Hang him on it." Before sunset, the wood carried its true weight. The architect of destruction faced his own design. Pride had constructed the instrument of judgment, and justice used it. But one problem remained. The decree against the Jews still stood. Laws of Persia could not be erased, so a new order was written. The Jews were granted the right to defend themselves. On the chosen day, they stood united. Fear turned into resistance. Their enemies fell. Haman's 10 sons were killed. The threat ended completely. What began as a massacre became survival. What was meant for extinction became triumph. The city of Susa rejoiced. Mordecai was clothed in blue and white. Esther stood not as a silent queen, but as a deliverer. And the Jews established a day of remembrance, Purim, a celebration of reversal. Because this story was never just about revenge. It was about hidden justice, about pride that believed it was untouchable, about a sleepless night that changed history. Haman thought he controlled fate, but destiny was writing in silence. And in the end, the gallows did not belong to the righteous. They belonged to the proud.